Ember, Trixie Lulamoon, and True Love by Switch Dub. For the past 2 weeks, Trixie has been on travel around Equestria, especially now that she has been reformed and she performing her magic shows only for a low cost. She was actually writing letters back to Starlight Glimmer about her performance and how it was going. So far, all her shows was very has a great success, and she had one more stop before she was going back home, and that was actually in Dragon's Lands. A number of ponies had actually moved there. Some of them were farmers, and others were like cowboys, for example. But that community was very small. There was about 150 ponies who lived there. But there were mostly dragons also nearby. But when she arrived, all the ponies there was very much looking forward to this magical show, and even some dragons was actually looking forward. All they had heard a lot about Trixie's magical show. But one of the dragons who was in the crowd was actually Dragon Lord Amber. She had heard a lot about Trixie from Starlight and Twilight and Spike. She was curious how did this pony could be so great success in a musician or in magic. So she stand there and looking around, waiting for the show to start. And during the show, Amber was like hypnotized during the entire magical show that Trixie performed. She had never seen any pony using illusion, magical tricks. So it looked like almost like anything was so well. After she actually applauded and she walked up to Trixie to talk to her, and she explained that she is a friend of Starlight, Trixie, Spike, and Twilight. And Trixie was then a little bit surprised that she mentioned Starlight's name, but Trixie didn't remember that Starlight had mentioned Ember a few times before. So after the show was over, they actually went to town to grab something to eat. They were actually had so much in common. There's a few friends in common, but they also wanted to have something else in life. Partnership. Amber has asked Trixie if it was possible for her to start a small school for teaching dragons about magic. Well, not even magical traits like the unicorns using, but more magical tricks. And Trixie was first a little bit curious why she asked her about it, but not even Twilight or Starlight. But she explained why. She explained to Starlight, Trixie, that she was actually looking forward to her to start a school. But then she asked if she were going to be the teacher at school. But Amber said that that was not necessary, since there are a few other gifted unicorns in the new town. They could be the teachers, and Trixie could teach them some of the basics, and later on she can pass on the teaching to the other teachers so we can teach the dragons. And first Trixie wanted to had to need to think about this idea, and Amber understood that. The rest of the night, Trixie was in her wagon, just thinking about this idea of being a small school for dragons to teaching about magical tricks, to be like professional musicians, like her. At first she thought that idea was not very much good, but after some while thinking about it, Trixie realized at least it was worth a try, at least. So she next day decided to tell Amber that she considered to start a small school for dragons. But how she did this school going to work? She will need a pony that send her letters back to Ponyville for like a regular basis update how this studies are going, if there's any progress or is any failures, or if they need any extra help or something. And Amber was agreeable with that, and just in about a week later, the school was finished, and first Amber and Trixie was not expecting that the school was going to have so many students. But in fact, about 25 dragons, young dragons, has volunteered to start to be students. They want to learn about this, even as like professional musicians. So they actually decided, and Amber was proud of the dragons that volunteered to be part of the school. Trixie thanked Amber for this opportunity, and after about 2 days, she had taught the other teachers about the basics. She thanked them and she left. She went back home, but during this entire trip, Trixie couldn't stop thinking about Amber. Amber had been so kind to her, having not been judging her for some her mistakes or anything, some sort of things. But she has been so very open. She hadn't even admitted to Trixie that she likes her very much, and even loves her. That took Trixie off guard. She was not even expect that Amber, of all dragons or ponies, was expected to love her. She didn't expect that part. Trixie was very much stunned. She told Starlight about this when she came back home, and even Starlight was surprised to hear that Amber was in love with Trixie. But from that moment, Trixie and Amber had started writing letters to each other back and forth, and even they had started to visit each other as often as they could. Trixie has had so many performances lately, so she could visit or even stay in Dragon's Lands for a longer period of time. And she actually decided to stay there for about a month or two, since she has no more performance for a long time, and she can stay there and look after the school, like be like a assistant teacher. But during this time when she was in Dragon's Lands, she could see the ponies town was growing bigger and more ponies had moved there, and also entire community has been very much have both dragons and ponies living. She had noticed a few other rare ponies are actually dating a dragon or even married with a dragon. That was actually the first dragon pony community together, except from the part from Dragon Town in Philadelphia. Even Trixie has been considered maybe started dating Amber. Even after that Amber had told her she had even admitted her feelings for her. And after that Trixie had admitted her feelings for Amber, they started to dating. But it was one time part of it. A small group of dragons was still a little bit afraid about this new lane of life. They thought friendship was going to ruin their traditions or even their lifestyle. So they tried to ruin every time for the town to burning down some buildings, even trying to destroy the school a few times. but Trixie and Ember managed to stand up for them. But during one of the fights, some of the dragons managed to burn Trixie so severely, and Ember, she was so furious about these dragons. When they saw her, so furious of anger or rage, she punched them so hard. She banished them from the. She had other two options: banishment forever or hard work. Then, but she knows that Trixie didn't want to banish the dragons, so she forced them, not forced, but she made them to rebuild the buildings they had destroyed. And after some time, they had to go in a sort of school for learning about true friendship. Since friendship about opponents and other creatures have increased their wealth, their society has evolved for next level. But the dragons apologized to Ember and Trixie. Trixie, by the way, had to be put in hospital in Canterlot for the next 2 months afterwards. Her burns were so severe. She was the doctor thought that she would even make it. Ember, when she heard about this, she couldn't even believe it. She spent every day, every night at Trixie's bed to when her wake up. She was in coma for the next 2 months. But when she finally woke up, Trixie was happy to see Ember. And it took her about another 4 months to recover entirely. And thanks to Twilight and Celestia, Trixie's burns has been completely healed with no marks, no scars from it. And that was a good sign. Even she was fully recovered, she was still weak in her magic, but Ember told her that will take time to restore her full potential magic again. But that didn't mind for her. But just at the time, Ember had actually proposed to Trixie. Trixie was very much happy about it. She couldn't even say no. And she had asked Starlight to be her bridesmaids. And even Ember had asked Twilight to be her bridesmaids while they held the wedding in Canterlot. They had never been so proud and even so nervous about this big day. And later they actually went to Crystal Empire for their honeymoon for the next 3 whole weeks. They were so much in love. No other ponies could never expect a dragon lord with a unicorn to be so much in love. Their love for each other was so strong and so pure, so deeply in love. Most of their love had never been so deeply. Trixie had finally found her true love, and even Ember had never expected her to find a special zone pony ever, until she met Trixie. About 5 years later, Trixie and Ember have been talking about maybe starting a family someday, until they realized there perhaps was a time for it. So they had asked Twilight for help, and she did help them. Trixie became pregnant, and a few months later, she had actually a daughter which they named Snowy Fire. Snowy Fire was actually very talented in magic like her mother. But in most of her life, she loved to magic, study of magic, and even to explore. But it was just one thing that she loved the most: singing. She had actually inherited her mother's her mother Ember's talent in music and singing. She actually fell in love with another dragon. And just about 5 years after they were married, they had actually 3 daughters of their own and 1 son 2 years later. And that's how Ember and Trixie Lulamoon found their true love, got a big family, the end.